my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare scarring. Hand me a drink cause I think I'm going all in. Get me a shrink who can catch me when I'm falling. Cover up my scars, flip the handlebars, crashing in my car, wake up in a bar. I'll be a superstar, just on my avatar. This world is so bizarre, empty out the reservoir. Yeah, I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy, don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots, all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. My name is Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for tonight's show. This is season number 1, episode number 22, and waiting in the green room is our special guest tonight, Mr. Rusty Kern. But before we get to him, I'm going to introduce my panel members for tonight. And starting off in the great state of New Hampshire, we got my buddy from last night and tonight, Mr. Rick Bradshaw. How you doing tonight, Rick?
Heidi ho, everybody. How's everyone tonight?
Looks good. We got some people chiming in already in the chat room.
Oh, Barb's already here. Big Boss Jack.
All right. And we also have this gentleman right here. Dan, how you feeling tonight? A little better? No?
Oh, I'm miserable, but I'll make it, guys. I'm full of energy. Yay!
And representing the Great North, we have John Salatellis. How you doing, John?
What's up, everybody? Good to be here.
And last but not least, we have our toy photographer extraordinaire, Mr. Joe Baker. How you doing tonight, Joe?
I'm doing good because we have the real toy soldier photographer extraordinaire with us tonight. With Rusty.
We do. Special guest tonight, but so how's everybody doing? Joe, we missed you last week. I know you had some babysitting issues there.
Yeah.
Adventures in babysitting.
Yeah, I watched my grandson do real well in a baseball game. His team's undefeated, and
nice.
makes going to the games a lot of fun when they're doing well.
Absolutely, man. We got Big Boss Jack with us, Patrick Green.
Patrick.
I'm trying to scroll through the chat too.
I think that's it.
I'm going slow on my end too. I don't know if it's just me or if we're all. We were talking backstage with trying to get Rusty hooked up, and his computer was going a little slow. Mine's going a little slow now too. So.
Bad weather.
All right. Well, let's still go around the room and say what new in your zoo. And Joe, since you weren't here last week, you get to go first. Anything new in the last 2 weeks?
Very, very little. But I did go on eBay, and I don't know if you can see the color or not.
Yeah.
But this is a what they call a flip-flop reb, in Confederate in powder blue. Which only came in the Custer's Last Stand set. And this pose was, when I was a kid, was always my favorite. Of course, it was always in gray. I didn't even know about this set. And once you get collecting, it's weird what things matter to you. So getting a common pose and an uncommon color like this becomes a treasured piece of the collection. So
Is he a kneecap shooter?
Yeah, he always aims down. I picked up one more, both shooting poses.
Oh, they're shooting at each other. That's what's going on.
Probably. So anyway, just a couple little things to go.
I've only ever seen those from Rick Eber, man.
Well, and again, with Rusty here, he had the magazine issue all dedicated to it. Very, very cool. So
very excited to have Rusty on tonight, man. I tell you.
Yeah, he's done more for the hobby than just about anybody.
I know, man. So.
Well, your D-Day pictures were amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So,
yeah, those D-Day ones. Yeah, they were awesome.
But John's were awesome too.
John's
yours too, Rick.
Yep.
Thank you.
John, how about those D-Day pictures, man?
Well, see what a little repurposing and some filters could do. Wow. I've gotten more traction out of these in the past few days than 2 years ago when I first they first debuted it. It's like, especially on the Midwest Midwest Toy Soldiers show page,
Yep.
like over 400 likes. Amazing comments
That's amazing.
from
Yep.
everybody, and I just wanted to repurpose a bit and go a bit, kind of remix them, like they're saying, go a bit more grittier with black and white and sepia, and make them a little more realistic. And I don't know, I think they turned out fine, but I guess everybody agreed. So a big thank you to everybody who checked them out. I even printed. I got to my head got a little big, so I went and I printed a couple of.
Oh, they look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look good. Yeah, the reacts.
I was going to comment about that shirt you're wearing tonight.
Where'd
you get that?
I just went to a print shop and I go, I think I like it. So since Rusty was on tonight, I thought I figured I'd get this done, because he was very nice enough 2 years ago to feature this shot along with a couple other shots from the D-Day set on his magazine, on the Playset magazine. I think it was this one with Rommel on it. So I'm extremely appreciative.
There you go. Yeah, that was an awesome picture.
To Rusty for believing in believing and giving me a shot. It was great. Unbelievable. Nice. And I went to a trade show, like I told you guys, on Saturday.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. You pick anything?
It wasn't as fun as a Toy Soldier show. I was looking for, just looking for maybe some terrain and stuff like that. I got a couple little things here. A little bag of moss.
Yep.
This was going for like $4, so I picked that up, and a couple of these arches and stuff like that from.
That's cool.
I figure I could use them somewhere. The guy was selling them $1 each. He didn't want them anymore. So I'm like, $1 each? He goes, yeah. He told me in French. He doesn't need them anymore. A little sign there that I can use at somewhere. I'm sure I can put this somewhere.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that. That was about it. I spent more on the entrance ticket than on the stuff,
stuff inside.
Yeah.
I usually find a lot of terrain stuff and diorama stuff, that you can go.
Going for, but surprisingly enough, except for a few 3D stuff that they had, I bought a few crates, and it had a few things I wanted. I wanted a wagon, some sort of like a train wagon, open with no markings or anything, so I can put on the CTS. You guys know the CTS 2-part train track with But I didn't find it here. I did find something on eBay. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. It's a little pricey, but we'll see, because I'd like to make a scene somehow with that. But
so are you working on a calendar for next year yet?
Yeah, they'll be there. They'll be in Chicago. I'll have them ready.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
nice.
With a little more merch. I'll bring some books, maybe some T-shirts. We'll see, and a few mugs. So
right on.
The T-shirt looks really, really sharp.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah, the guy did a good job. I was there, and I don't want. I had printed it with it was a rectangle shot, right? So it's like it just looks a bit squarish and just maybe cheaper. So I tried to find a frame on it or some sort of effect that would make it look like kind of like all over a little abstract. So I did that. I figured I'll put it on a black T-shirt. So you won't be able to really tell the frame. But the guy goes, I'll just start cutting it a bit. So and he cut around the whole thing. I'm like, oh. You have the patience. I really appreciate it. So I'm gonna go buy another one, maybe with another image, maybe one of those in a different filter, more the sepia. It came out nice. So
yeah, it looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
All right.
Very good.
All right, Dano. I know you got some new stuff that you painted up this week. You know, share it.
Yes, as we talked about, got these guys here. They're called Wolf Hound or Wolf Hood Hunters. I got them on Amazon for like $10. Get 5 to a pack. They come in molded gray. I did paint these, so I'm not a professional miniature painter. And just so you know, they are 54 millimeter. Here's an arm in to give you a scale. So, as I told Paul earlier, this is what a paleo diet would do for you. So here they go. Here's my guys.
Atkins all protein diet.
I told everybody yesterday that's the head leader there. Freddie Fish Breath, right there, right there. And then we get over here. We got his son. We call him. Hey, can I get this focus in? Come on, focus in. Call him Broken Arrow. The reason he's Broken Arrow because he has a bow, but he has no arrows. So I don't know what he's walking around with that thing for. So, but they're really cool figures overall. They really
did a great job painting them.
Yeah, that looks really nice, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. So they're all there. I got a little train. So they're just tacked on this piece of wood to show you guys. Come on. Oh, a little bit better right there. You see those guys there. Oh, they're all angry now. So, but there you go. There's got me into 54 millimeter figures now. So
nice.
Enjoy painting them. They're fun.
Now all we got to do is convert this guy to 1/32 scale, and we'll have everybody on board, man.
No, the idea is to convert you guys to 1/18.
1/18 scale.
I'm trying hard. All right, I got a few things I'll show. So this is from Boss Fight Studio. You guys might get a kick out of this. So this is the Phantom and Hero. Let's see if I can bring it up a little better.
1/18.
The Phantom, nice.
Yeah.
He's not purple.
No, this is one of the other versions where he's a little bit of gray purple.
Gotcha.
On him, not the full purple outfit. It's kind of nice because they make like about 4 versions of the Phantom. One's from when he's in the pirate era, and I think there's a red one or something like that.
Yeah.
But he comes with the cool horse. Boss Fight makes really nice stuff. And again, I mentioned them before. They're right down in there he is up there. Kind of a decent picture of him. They're right down in Massachusetts.
Cool.
And we got some 1/18 Joy Toy. These, I forget what these are called. They don't make them anymore.
Oh, Halo?
They're not Halo. No, they look like it though.
I was going to say
they're like Space Marines, but they call them something else. And I tried looking them up. I couldn't find them out. I couldn't find out what they were.
What's the brand again?
Joy Toy.
Joy Toy.
And you can find Joy Toy on Amazon. And sometimes they have them right in stock and they'll ship them out. And sometimes they come from China. But these guys are nicely articulated, little tiny 1/18, and they move all over the place. They're really cool.
Neat.
Very
and
cool.
These guys came in a 3-pack, I believe. So I have a third one floating around. No clue where he is.
Well, you just said that they move around really well.
They move around. So this is what's going to turn Paul over to 1/18.
Ah, man, you got me, dude, with that.
Okay. So this is 21st century Sherman tank.
I might go down that rabbit hole.
Highly detailed.
Very nice.
I bought this on eBay years ago. It's missing some hatches, and I was going to use it as a damaged tank and some pictures. I never did, but it's in good shape. And it doesn't, it's funny, we talked about it being the plastic being brittle, and this feels nice and solid. Doesn't feel brittle at all. All the stuff is on there. It's all glued on. That's how it came, I believe.
Yeah.
So nice.
Very nice.
Gonna find your machine gun for the top.
Yeah, that's missing. Yeah. And I think I showed this in the package, and this is one out of the package. This is the Indiana Jones motorcycle with the rider. And they did a cool thing with this guy. He's plastic up top in his legs, and then they gave him a soft goods long coat.
Oh, cool.
So he can fit over the bike, so it looks like the movie.
Neat.
Pretty cool. He's a nice piece. These guys are cool. I bought 2 of them years ago and opened one and kept the other one in the package. That's what I got. That's it.
Very cool.
Thing with this guy,
Very nice. I'm looking at Rusty in the green room, and he's like, I thought this was the 1/32 scale show. What the hell's going on, man?
Hey, I did it. I did it.
Nah, that's good, man. I like sharing it. So, anybody new in the chat room before we bring out our special guest? I'm just kind of scrolling through. Still a big kid. Appreciate you coming on board tonight. Moondoggy. Michelle D's back 2 nights in a row. Thanks, Michelle. Tom L.
John Vincevich from last week. Hey, John.
Yep, John.
Patrick
E4
Graves
Airman.
in there.
Should be a great show with Rusty. We're hoping, man. We have a little bit of a delay with his voice, but I think we can make it through the show tonight. He's got a lot of stuff to show us. Michelle D still talking up a storm. Eric. So Eric's going to come on the show. Eric Percy, if you're not familiar with him, he does a lot of painting, especially for the Speria stuff. Have you seen his stuff painted, Joe?
I think so.
Yeah, he's on all the
guy, the Union guys being dragged, wounded.
Yep. That's his work. That's his work.
So
we got him coming on.
Find it.
Yeah, we got him coming on July 2nd, I want to say. So we got him locked on. Next week, we have Paul Statingren.
Old school.
Old school, yes.
Boy.
Paul's going to be on, so looking forward to that. Just trying to catch up. Paul B's with us tonight. Michelle D. Am I missing anybody? Anybody in the chat room?
Moondoggy's here. Edmund.
Moondoggy. Oh, John V's with us. Hey, John.
Yep.
Appreciate it, man.
Mark is here. How's it going, Mark?
Mark, yep. All right, I think I'm all caught up. So, well, without any further ado, I tell you, I've followed this guy since I bought these videos, back in the day. Matter of fact, the first 3 I had were VCR tapes. That's how long I've been following. How about you, Joe?
I go way back to PFPC days when he was
PFPC. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's got a couple books out. Matter of fact, let me do my introduction for him. Before I bring, let's see. Make sure he's still in the green room here before I do anything.
Haven't chased him away.
There he is.
He is an author, a producer, and a director. He is a videographer and a toy photographer. He is the owner and operator of Playset Magazine and Atomic Home Video. He has done more for toy soldier collecting community than Louis Marks himself. He's probably the busiest man in the business, but he still has time to feed the dog and take out the trash. I am so honored to finally have this man on my show. This is Mr. Russell S. Kern, but we know him as Rusty.
Hey.
How are you tonight, sir?
Well, thank you so much for that, Paul. I certainly don't share all your opinions. I think the guys sitting right with you are more like what you just said than I am, especially when you have Joe Baker, who is an incredible artistic. Wow, what he does with a camera and the figures we love is amazing. But thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, like I said, I think you got a lot of us started on collecting or recollecting again as a kid. Before we get into asking your questions and looking at your stuff, can you just tell me a little bit about what influenced you as a kid, maybe with Marks, or was it later on that you got?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was Christmas morning, and you started looking forward to Christmas before the catalogs came out. I remember Drop Day was in October. I'm talking in the 60s. But my first playset was a Fort Apache in 1958. I was growing up on a missile base, which was an Air Force Strategic Air Command base called Vandenberg in California. Yay. And my father was involved in fuels, and he helped develop the LOX tanks. Liquid oxygen, as you know, is like 1,000 degrees below zero or something, and it freezes everything. In fact, things shatter if they come into contact with it, and they couldn't find a way to contain it to put it in the missiles. They knew what they were going to use to send them up.
Yeah.
But there was a bunch of guys that worked on building that. So anyway, my collecting has started to concentrate a little bit on missiles and rockets and missile bases and things. And that resulted in our next to most recent book, which was called, well, of course I didn't bring it. Why would I bring that book? No. And it's about the space race that I saw as a kid, which was mostly missiles blowing up in the atmosphere. And I remember going down to the beach one day with a couple friends. We were wanted to watch the Atlas go off, and it went up and got into the fog layer, and it just became an enormous red-orange ball. And then out of the sky came parts and pieces splashing in the ocean right in front of us. And I came away with one piece from that. I was paid $5 for it, and today I understand it's one of those real expensive things. But anyway, that's where I got started. And when I got into the hobby, it was Tom Terry, who was truly a legend. He began PFPC, Plastic Figure and Playset magazine. And I tell you, I was in New York City filming at the White House and found a copy of Tom's magazine there in the White House. And I was paging through it, and the guy came into the office, put that down. I can't afford to lose that. And I thought, boy, that's a real treasure. So I asked for one. And I had just gotten married. My wife, Kathy, was very understanding and enthusiastic and supportive. And so we started subscribing to Tom Terry's magazine, and that was it. I'm telling you, gentlemen, Joe, you remember, and you were there for time, and that was just the thing to do, is get that magazine. When Tom announced that he was too ill to continue his magazine, he was saying somebody better step up here, and we all kept waiting, didn't we, to see who would be the unlucky people, the lost souls that would try to do a magazine for the hobby. And nobody stepped up. And Tom called me one day shortly before he was out of it entirely, and he said, you better take this thing over because there's nobody here. So Kath basically pushed me, dragged me along, and we started Playset Magazine. In fact, it was originally going to be called 200 Fifth Avenue, or 200, because we were so enamored of Louis Marks. Louis Marks is kind of my hero. He, 1919, founded his company. By the 1950s, he was the world's largest toy maker, and his brother, David, was the sales guy for the firm, and then Louis was the inventor of toys. And I thought, there's nothing on him, really. There's little snippets about people saying they think he did this, or this was a toy that Louis Marks made, but there was no information about how that actually came about, who was responsible for it, and what was the process involved of thinking it up and then making it real. And I was lucky. I was shooting a photograph of one of the Cape Canaverals, actually, in our film studio. I was misled most of my life into being a film producer. And as soon as we clear out the set, I'd use the lighting and everything to set up a Marks playset and do my own photography on it for Tom's magazine. And in the room walked a guy named Jim Morrison, who was not a musician, he was a well-known, on a national scale, commercial producer. He did you guys might remember this, he did a commercial for Chevy that started off with a beautiful girl in a flowing dress, and she was standing in front of the car, and the camera was swirling around her. And as it pulled back, it turned out she was on top of a pinnacle in Monument Valley. She way the heck up there, and no way to get off except the helicopter. That was Jim Morrison. He did a number of commercials that were pretty well known at the time. And he was looking at this stuff, and usually people go, they won't even mention it. But if they do, it's, what's that? But Jim said, oh, that's a Louis Marks toy. And I turned to him and said, yeah, how would you know that? And he said, oh, I knew Louis Marks very well. And daughter. And I said, well, is it even remotely possible that you would have any phone numbers left? He said, oh, sure. He pulled out his notebook, wrote down a phone number for the main office, which turned out to be unfortunately disconnected, but it did lead to writing to Louis Marks Jr., Louis's son. And it took over a year of letters and phone calls. But I eventually got a phone call back from a guy named Cy Wayne, who was a wonderful gentleman of the era of the 40s and 50s. He became the vice president at Louis Marks and Company. And he called and asked, what can I do for you? And I said, well, Louis Marks Jr. isn't calling me back. He said, what can I do for you? And we began a very long relationship of him telling about the adventures that they all had at Marx and giving me a sense of what the firm was like from an executive's point of view. And of course, wanting to go deeper than that, eventually through him, we made contacts with Frank Rice and many of the other guys that were involved. They were very active, very avid, very much pleased to hear that somebody cared about the firm. And the more I heard from them, and then at the same time on a tandem course, the more I heard from really knowledgeable collectors like you all know Rick Eber. I think he's been on your show. Glenn Ridenauer, David Schaefer, so many more. George Kroll was one of my contemporaries. And whereas I was trying to learn about the firm and the production process, what was true and what was false about what we were hearing about the Marx factories, these guys were learning the intimate details of play sets, and they were investing very heavily in finding mint sets and examining them. And I thought, between us, there's a lot of information. And as we talk, at that time, there was no way really of capturing it. Right now, Paul, you're doing a great job because people can tell you their stories and it can be preserved. But at that time, there wasn't anything like that. And I thought, we got to do a book. We got to do the magazine. We got to do the books. And that's what started all of that. And the first two books was a 2-volume set on Toy Kings, the story of Louis Marx. And it picks up on each of the individuals as they join the firm, the factory managers, Buck Livingston, the designers, Frank Rice and Al Beck, and the model makers and sculptors who do the figures. And it's I hope, a very complete story. I've been told it is, of how the firm grew, what made it the world's largest toy company, and it legitimately was, and so forth. So those were the first 2 books. But then there was I'll call it the collector side of the play sets. A lot of guys, a little bit of that goes a long way. What about the play sets? So with the magazine, we were able to tackle a lot of that, and eventually compiling a lot of it into, because every time we would do an issue, let's see if this is true. Here, you mentioned the D-Day stuff a minute ago, fellas. This was our D-Day issue from the 60th anniversary. That was my big attempt at a D-Day thing, and I used layers of foam to do point to hawk here on the left.
Looks like a flashback from a Sears catalog right there. Is what that looks like.
You are the king of them.
Yeah, and we did. But then you get guys like Rick Eber. And here is what Rick Eber was able to do. He was able to take the largest of the sets and lay them out and give us a piece-by-piece count. And I became sharper as a result of Rick. Rick is such a contributor to the hobby. He's a builder of the hobby. The guys I've mentioned are all builders of the hobby because they're interested in preserving it. And they're interested in putting in a lot of time. These books take well over a year. And everybody who works on it, I mean, you would think that if there was a question about something, that it could be answered fairly quickly. But a lot of times it can't be. And we've had guys working 3-4 people at a time on a single project, well into the night, several days running, talking back and forth. It's a real brain trust thing because none of us wants to go to the trouble. I say the trouble, it's really a joy, but to the work of producing a book and the expense of it, and then having something wrong in it. So I request that people find problems, find misspellings, and there's a lot of those. We have proofers, bless their hearts, that just go over and over and over it. I'm going to mention here Paul Grundler and Biff Smith.
Oh, good old Paul.
Paul Grundler.
Yeah, no, man, those guys, I mean, he's relentless. He is absolutely relentless, and I'm totally worn out. The vetting process runs about 6 to 8 weeks. And I mean, every day the emails are full. We got to change this. You got to reshoot that. And we do that, and gratefully so. PJ Schaefer's another one. most of us are collecting play sets. And PJ, I hope you're watching this, because I don't get a chance to tell you much that I appreciate what you're doing. George, you too. But he collects catalogs, paper. And it turns out, but of course, what a light bulb goes on. Of course, it's the catalogs that are going to tell us a lot about the time period of a set, its color, if it was a color catalog. There are jobbers catalogs that most of us have not seen. A jobber was a guy that would basically come into Mark's. He would make an appointment. He would prove that he had a certain base level of finances, $20,000, $30,000. And then they would take him in as a client, potential client, and they would listen to what he wanted to do. And some of these fellows were going to travel throughout the South to small toy shops, and they wanted a supply of inexpensive, some of them were novelty items like you might find at the Woolworths, and some of them were the play sets we know and love. And they were required to do some sort of promotion on it, and they would do these jobber sheets which show play sets that may have been changed in a substantial way. A lot of times play sets will have two numbers on the end, right, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
You have a Western Ranch with one number and then a dash, and then it'll say two more numbers. And those second numbers usually indicate that it was a jobber set. The set had two clients. One was maybe the major catalog. Roy Rogers would be a good example of it. And the other one would be for the jobber guy. And it might have changes or differences, especially if he was looking for a discounted price. So all of that stuff became, we got to put this someplace. It's got to be somewheres that we can access it and use it. And so that's what the books are really about. May I show one or two, Paul?
Absolutely. I kind of highlighted the two that I grabbed earlier, but
oh yes, oh yeah. Fort Apache there.
The Battleground one, I use this. This is my reference guide right here.
Oh, we're getting ready to do an update on that, the Ultimate Battleground, on Volume 2 of it.
Well, I can't tell you how many times I've watched the DVDs over and over again. I got
oh man,
just
Tom Terry hated that DVD because there's the scene where the jets first show up, the rocket firing jet.
Yep.
And it always wakes him up. I said, for you.
The Mark's blue and gray sets. Yeah.
This one is called Castles, Knights, and Vikings. This is an ode I really should have dedicated to Kath. I don't know what's the matter with me. Kath is a Swedish girl, Norwegian, and Castles, Knights, and Vikings is about 40 plus play sets are involved and listed in this. And it does everything from Timmy and, I think there must be 30 or 40 different.
Doll Cop right there, yeah.
And
Doll Cop, yeah.
Let's see, this here is the Prince Valiant set. There's a number of those. And back here is Lido. We have a big section on, I love Lido. Lido is great stuff. Jim McGough, who is a long-time collector and still very active, got me really started on things like this little dime store set. And I love those because I remember them so well. This book goes from 1955 and the very first sets up through this is a Giant set. They had many package sets. The Arrival of the Vikings, and so forth. It's 260 pages, I think. Britain Swappets are in here. Anyway, this is our newest effort, and it's available in hardcover and softcover.
And you just released that when?
I beg your pardon?
You just released that what? This month? Last month?
Yes, yeah. It's new this issue, which just came out. Well, it came out on the 1st. Yep. And it's I tell you, this one was a real labor of love. We've got a couple more coming up, but we've done 12 now. 24 if you count the soft covers, which you probably wouldn't. But 12 books, 12 titles that are Fort Apache. We've done one on all the Civil War sets of Marks. That was a very successful one because it was so heavily vetted. I had my head beat in that there were very few updates to it, and so the book has lasted for as long as it's been out with that unchallenged. Nobody's come up and said, "Oh, there's a missing playset or something." Fort Apache, just the opposite. There were a number of things that came up on that, and we had to do an update. Glenn Ridenauer is a researcher in the hobby, and he dallies in the 12-inch sometimes, and also in the playset end. But he has a very large group of records from the Marks Factory records. We, for many years, worked with Francis Turner to document these sets and document the factory records, which are included in a lot of the books. Glenn Ridenauer has now taken those over, and he kind of took me to task a little bit on Fort Apache. He said, "What about the early sets?" I said, "They're in there. They're in there." Guess what? There's factory records that prove that the 3607 and the 3606 actually existed. They were for sale. They were specialty items. We believe that Marks put out a couple of sets to sort of test the waters, maybe in localities that they could keep an eye on and see how the sales did. Were people buying them? Were they not being bought? And so the book needed to be redone. And then we also found a couple Canadian sets, John. There's a Canadian Alamo that went into the Alamo date book.
Oh, wow.
And it actually flies the Canadian flag. It's a wonderful thing. I got to show you. Yeah, here, hang on a second. This is the revised edition of the Alamo. And for those of you that have the original Alamo, it includes the Davy Crockett at the Alamo, the Disney stuff, the famous Disney programs. We did one of the last interviews with Fess Parker for his appearance in the video. And then it goes into the 54 millimeter Alamos and what we call the John Wayne Alamos, which were the sets that I actually grew up with. I was young for those Disney Alamos. But I love them just the same, and I've since added all of them. A large collector's chapter. Yes, authors call those chapters. But I'm going to try to find, I should have thought of this, John, because I knew you were going to be on.
Rusty, I don't want to cut you off. You keep doing what you're doing. I'm just going to catch up on some of the questions in the chat room while you're looking for that.
Okay, great.
There's a lot of people that are saying we want to see the wall behind him, so I know we're going to get to that. I know you're going to. No.
All right.
Pace yourself. We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Paul B had a question. He said he wants to know, what direction do you see the hobby going in right now?
We get asked that a lot, and in fact, people are pretty blunt about the age thing in the hobby. I see a different side of it, though. Kathy does the subscriber databases, probably a new subscriber every week. We see it as growing, or at least holding pretty close to the subscriber base from when we started, which was 23 years ago, I think.
Can't believe it.
So we lose some guys. God bless their souls. I mean, we try to memorialize them. Sometimes there's more. It's the hardest thing I've got to do, but it's an honor. But at the same time, in comes some new guys. They've seen, you, Paul. We got 2 subscribers off your show this week. Just the fact that you were talking about it. So
awesome. We
see it as not dismal or drastic. I'm very hopeful about the future. Just staying kind of level. I know some of our guys are young, and what they want to see is the heritage sets. We've done some of that. They want us to talk about a little bit later era of Marks. We've always tried to do some of that, and we'll do more of it as we go on.
Okay, we got another question. Somebody wants to know where they can find your books.
The books are on eBay and at playsetmagazine.com. I think you can see it down there.
It's under your name. Yep.
Yeah.
I also got a direct text from Eric Gialanza. Do you know Eric Gialanza?
Oh my goodness, yes.
He said, remind Rusty that I now own his Fort Mohawk that he sold to Rick Eber. He said
Torture.
he said it's in one
Now
of your,
that's getting low,
it's
guys.
in one of your magazines. You highlighted in
That's-
one of your magazines, but he goes, I own it now. So just remind him.
And he does. It's true. Somewhere around here, I have.
And I gotta tell you, I gotta follow up with that. I own something I bought from you years ago, and I got a nice note in it from your wife that said you were going to put it in your next video, and you never did, and you pissed me off. I got a little bone to pick with you.
What was it?
It was Comanche Pass. I bought your Comanche Pass from you.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, he's going to put that in the next video." I was like, "Great, great, great." And the last 2 videos you put out, it wasn't there. I'm like,
Yeah, but I made up for it. It's in the special issue.
yeah, I saw.
Yeah, it's on. In fact, it's on the cover of the special issue. Okay, I'm going to get.
Oh, so I do own a little part of you too.
Here
Buddy.
is my Fort Mohawk,
Wow.
which is Eric.
Yep,
you-
Eric has it now.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, that was a 3-way deal plus. Good friend Rick Eber.
Yep.
Called and wanted it, and I wasn't very interested in selling it. And I mean, it's such a beautiful, what a set. And thank you, Eric, for reminding me. But I got it off to Rick, and then I guess Rick got it off to Eric, and maybe someday, Eric, it'll come back to me.
Well, I just ran into Eric at the Gettysburg Toy Soldier Show, and he said to remind you of that. So,
Well, tell him to come up to the Chicago show.
Chicago show, yeah.
He needs to
Well, I
catch
think
up.
John, you plan on going this year? You said.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
And by the way, I like your shirt too, John. That's awesome.
Hey, thank you. That a big thank you to you because you told me send me the picture with the explosion. I like the picture with the explosion, so that got it all started. That looks really good. So people seem to like it.
You're a great photographer. You and Joe Baker, man, it makes the hobby strong. You're the ribs of the hobby.
Yep.
Through your eyes, we see what we should be seeing on this stuff. A lot of people just see lumps of plastic. You know that, guys. And it's up to us to show them what you can really see with these things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
do you think you can give us a little mini tour, maybe just of some sets, or maybe
Yeah.
how about the ones you said you had in hand first?
Yeah. Let me show you this. I'm going to show it. We did the book on missiles, and a guy writes to me and says, "How come you didn't put my set in your book?" And I thought, well, I don't know, but if it isn't in there, I probably don't know of it. And he sent me photographs, and I went, "Oh my gosh, where did you find this thing? I've never seen it before in all my research, and none of the guys I've talked to have seen it." Now, maybe somebody in your audience, Paul, will have a catalog on this or something. But this right now, I'm standing on. This is a very rare set. This is the Ballistic Missile Force. I know it looks upside down. Just turn your computers upside down. If I close the lid, the crane. Here it is.
Oh wow!
Show this thing.
Yeah.
This is an MPC set.
Okay, I was thinking.
For years, MPC has been derided, maligned. I'm saying in favor of Marx, and I was one of them. But I tell you, their store displays. This is a set that you would buy it just the way you see it here. It wasn't a store display. It was a set up inside the box. They did it with Gunsmoke. They did it with Have Gun Will Travel and a mining train type of thing. And this one, and I've never seen this before. This has 2 of the rocket launchers. And if I can get this a little closer, I'll see if I can take a look at the beauty of those figures there. There we go.
Yeah.
The blue one is a little bit of an older figure, one of their first, and they just created them in a new color and put them in. All of those little accessories in gold are so fragile. Not all MPC's accessories are fragile, but that one is. And this has the small missile truck, which is, I think, considered fairly rare. If you're a real knowledgeable MPC collector, you can let me know if that's not true. But I have heard that this, can you see that in there? It's a small truck a four-wheeled, and it's got the white launcher and the red missile on it, the red rocket. It just came to me. So earlier we were talking about what's new, and that was it. It also has that crane, the yellow thing, that I haven't seen in any other MPC set. So.
That's very cool.
That is
Thank
nice.
you. I'm very proud of that one. Here's another one while we're talking about MPC. This was one of my first toys. My grandfather bought me this.
Wow.
This is the MPC pirate ship.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, each of the MPC pirates, we've all seen those in piles of 100, but these were highly individualized. Each one has a name in there. Deadeye Pete, Captain Hook. I'll give you a close-up of that if I can.
Wow. Yeah, I would see the ship. Yep.
Let me see if I can. Yeah. Ship with all of its accessories still in place.
Yep.
And there's your pirates. And you can see there's names on there.
Oh, wow.
It was a great piece. And I loved that set ever since. Somebody wanted to see the shelves. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, well, yeah, a couple people did, but I didn't know if you had the ability to get up and move your camera.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's try this.
We got a good connection. I don't want to lose you.
Very good. What I have to do, it's going to blip out for just a second while I move it to the front camera.
Those look like some custom shelves you have put in there.
Oh, that's insane. Wow.
Here we go.
Johnny Tremaine,
There.
yep, right in front of
Yeah.
us. Yep.
Oh, well, thank you. That's kind of you. Over here, this is sort of my modest character figure collection. The guys that are not in boxes. Johnny Ringo, who is still considered pretty rare, is at the top. And in blue, we have Custer. He used to be
that's the ultimate flip-flop
figure. Yeah, he is. He really is. To his right, the gray figure.
Mm-hmm.
In the front are Ben-Hur, the Emperor and Empress, and Wyatt Earp. And Hugh O'Brien, we called him because we wanted to do a story on the Wyatt Earp set. I'm enthusiastic about it. My daughter, Kathy. These are some Swappets. I got involved with these guys because of an auction. There were some Marx figures in the auction, and these guys just happened to be a free ride. The Marx figures turned out to be broken, but these guys, I thought, I like those. They're Lastolin and Tempo.
Okay.
Down here, let's see. Everybody has their favorite cap guns. That's one of mine. And then over here, this was the man from Uncle.
Man from Uncle.
And that was the gun I always wanted. Several times I went into the Woolworths in Lompoc, California, and there was just no way to ever get it. It was way out of my reach. So a opportunity came up at an auction, and I said, torpedoes, you know.
Very nice.
That's great.
Untouchables.
Untouchable.
The blue box is the Marx playset, and it's fully. All of these sets are fully bagged and dead mint with the figures and stuff, like my Fort Mohawk was before I stupidly sold it. Don't sell your stuff, guys.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
There's a nice set. Is that a Jim Klaus?
Thank you.
Or is that something you made?
No, that's another one of my 4 efforts. I made that
No,
for
that
the
looks
wagon
great,
train
Oh, that's
set,
gorgeous.
and oh, thank
Wow.
you. These 2 wagons are, and all the blue figures are Custer's Last Stand. Joe, those are the same doggone, came in a complete set of reverse powder blue.
Yep.
The seated fellow is from another grouping, but I just like him on the rocks there. Let's see here. This guy, let me remove the chief here. Oh. So there's your gray, the original Civil War Confederate.
Joe, you were just talking
gray.
about that earlier.
Yep, that's Joe right there.
Reverse color. Wow.
And then
That powder blue color is my absolute favorite. The one
on the left,
flip-flops
the
are.
blue is one of the reverse group, and there's 16. The flag bearer, who is a very, very, very tough guy to get. The flag is often very thin. And by the way, the knowledge that I am gushing here, you're really hearing Rick Ebert talk. His knowledge of this set is second to none. And
Hey, well, he's too chicken to come on the show.
so I have been
you're it.
Very
When I
good.
set up in Indiana, Carl Diener had 2 of these.
He and Craig Remington. I know you've had Craig on the
Yep. Craig's been on the show. Yep. Craig is the master of opening up
Craig has been very
old
helpful.
boxes.
I tell you.
Wow.
You wouldn't find me
Well,
doing
Red
that
Baron.
probably as frequently as he does. This is another rare set. A lot of guys don't. You may have seen this, but Remco in 1965 was doing a last-ditch effort. The president said, all hands on deck. Come up with the best ideas you can. And this was one of them. It was a window in it. The Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea set came in one of these. And
Wow, yeah.
there were 3 of these World War I Air Ace sets.
Man.
And this is the last one I have. George Kroll got the other one. There was limited shelf space, and I have sometimes been very guilty of letting stuff go to get something more. This one, though, called the Strategic Air Command set. This is the Ward's version of it. And inside are 4 of these bombers. And these bombers are selling today. I think I saw one go for $600 each of them.
Whew.
The engine nacelle, which are these, are pretty fragile on these things. Good knows why Marx did things that were fragile. Also, the little compartment in the windows, in the cockpit there, I don't know if you can see those lines. Maybe they'll come in. They're very fragile, and you very often find those busted out. And if that, then your plastic areas that hold them on, if you can see how this is attached.
Yeah.
I'm not going to. Next to the wing is very fragile and very frequently breaks off. They're just like my dad worked in.
Oh, wow.
I never have seen that Ward's version.
Well, the Ward's version, yeah, that is a beauty, and I put
He breaks up more when he gets close to the cabinets, I notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's talking, but we
the
can't hear him.
missiles book because having grown on a missiles base was I have tried to group things, but I'm not a very good grouper. There's sort of part of my Western collection. Daktari is coming up for the Christmas issue, and that's the Strategic Air Command set down there. The Sears. Did I miss something? I'm sorry.
No, you're breaking up when you move around a lot. So.
Oh, is that the PT?
All right.
NPC PTs boats?
That's the pirate ship, and behind it are mint bag sets, and so on and so
On top of that,
forth. Well, there you go.
There's some of your DVDs.
This is a collection of the DVD.
Yep.
We have 16 DVDs now, and there's the 12 books, and then as you know, 130 issues of the magazine, 134 issues of the magazine now.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, great collection. Rusty, I know your collection's a lot bigger than that, but thanks for the little tour there. Can you hear us?
I could take you into the warehouses over here. We'll save that for another time. I'm kidding. It'll be much later.
That'll have to be show number 3 and number 4, man.
Yeah, we'll bring Craig in for those.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Rusty, how many different layers are in some of your playset magazine covers? Because I know that you have everything in such sharp focus and so beautiful and just perfect each time, and with different elements in it. How many different layers do you usually have going in those?
I would say each region of the photo. In this one, you've got Indians in these trees back here. Here's a chief and over here. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 shots that make this up. I've gone as high as 100.
Wow.
And,
100 layers?
Wow. Lacing them together.
Wow. That's even more than I imagined. I knew it was impressive.
The separate series of shots.
That's great. Always perfect depth of field. I am. Always have perfect depth of field.
Thank you. Focus is always a problem of mine. But thanks.
Now, do you remember way back when you did the Barzo?
That's. And by the way, Joe, you have got to send in some of your shots for it. I know you say take a look at the website, but it's not a hidden secret. We try not to publish anything that's been on the website. Then when they see the magazine, they want something new. So we really want to feature your stuff. You are a master photographer, and you really capture the nuance, I think, of action scenes. You're really great.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So,
Rusty, we got a couple more questions for you.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I was just. Do you remember way back in the PFPC days when Barzo first came out, and I know you photographed an amazing diorama of the French and Indian War era with the river and the pine trees. Did you make that diorama?
I think at that time I did, yeah.
I mean, that was one of the
I
most
was,
impressive things I've ever seen.
Thank you. Are you talking about the Fort Wilderness by any chance? Or the
I'm not
Fort,
sure. It was early Barzo advertisements, I think, or else the story in PFPC.
Yeah, that would have been the dioramas that I do, if you can call them that. I mean, when you see Jim Close's work, what I do is hopelessly primitive, but I use foam core, which I purchase at any of the hardware stores or the large hardware like Lowe's or Home Depot. Big sheet of that, and you start cutting it up. It responds very well to a hot wire cutter. If you're familiar, you can buy those at Hobby Lobbies.
Drywall saw.
And the diorama here, the Custer's Last Stand rocks are all just pieces of foam stood up, glued together with hot glue, coated in one way or another with plaster, and then painted. I did a story once on the 30-minute diorama. That's really all it takes.
Hey, Rusty, just a few questions.
Sir.
I know we're over the hour mark. I don't know if you have to go, but can we get a couple more questions in?
Oh, great. I'd love to hear
them. Is there any holy grail that you're still looking for?
Yeah. Being a space guy, I'm looking for the Space Patrol set. I still want a large 1959 Sears gas station. We're going to do both of those themes as books coming up. We've got peacetime sets. I guess that's sort of an announcement. Peacetime Sets Volume 1, which will be gas stations, airports, construction camps, and then Volume 2, which will be the city themes, skyscrapers, schools, pet shops, and that sort of thing. A downtown car dealership, which Mark's made. And so those two are hot on my list. Then in miniature sets, I've always liked them. And at one time when I was a kid, 63, 64, I sold off. I actually offed all of my collection. I had all those play sets. I offed them all to a kid to get his miniature play set. And then I worked for 6 months to get enough money to buy a Charge of the Light Brigade, which I still have over there in the cabinet, the original one that I got in 64. Yeah. But 20 Minutes to Berlin in the miniature line. So that's 3.
Wow. What has been the best part about collecting over the years?
Knowing the guys that were at Mark's in the days that we were enjoying this stuff as kids, meeting them, hearing their stories, being able to record them, getting phone calls at 10 o'clock at night from Frank Rice saying, "Hey, you called me a genius again." So you are, Frank, let me know or not. Because he invented so many of the play sets that we love. I mean, he was an assistant to a guy named Ed Yelty from 46 through about 55. And then in 1955, forward up to 62, almost everything we see was from him. And then it overlapped to a fellow by the name of Al Bagg. And supporting those guys were the Ferrio brothers, who were sculptors. Joe Ferrio was called the Whiskey Sculptor. Louis Marx would say, "Get me the Whiskey Sculptor on this." And because he would sculpt the figure, and then to smooth out the clay, he would have a little glass of whiskey that he'd be putting his brush in, taking it off and smoothing it. He worked endlessly on those figures to make them smooth and beautiful. And Joe, those Civil War figures we're just talking about are his on his grouping.
Wow.
But yeah,
Rusty, what was your favorite toy as a kid growing up?
For me.
What was your favorite toy as a kid growing up? Did you have one?
Ben-Hur, the Ben-Hur play set and the Fort Apache playset and the Civil War playset and the Battleground playset. I mean, they were all stuffed under my bed. And on a rainy day, oh, that was the best. You just go in there and grab one out and put it up. If I looked at them, I could never decide. Still can't which one I want to play with.
That's cool.
But if I just reached under and pulled the set out, and there, I love those. Still do. Still
I have
can't
one
get
last.
enough of
I
them.
have one last question to ask you, and then I'll see if anybody else has anything before we finish up. I always like to ask this of all my guests, especially the first time they come on. Give me one good childhood memory of, either a favorite Christmas, birthday, something that playing with the kids, neighborhood kids. One good childhood memory.
You're gonna make me sound. I'll sound like a broken record. Setting up a Cape Canaveral on the picnic table in my backyard. My father was launching that day, and so I had a miniature atlas in my hand, the one that Mark's made, and I was launching it at the same time my dad launched the real atlas. And
wow,
that was it looked like it was right over the fence. It was really a mile or two away. I guess that's what comes to mind. The windows rattling and pushing my own button and sending up the rocket as the real one was rising. I guess that has to be the best. There was also a time when my brother and I found a piece of what looked like a big rubber racer, and that was solid fuel from a missile. And we picked it up down on the beach after they blew it up overhead. All the stuff fell in, and I used a paint can to light it. It just wouldn't light. We were trying to light it in the barbecue grill. So you put a match in front of a paint can, and it was blowing out like a flamethrower. That guy in Boulder should have used my technique. He'd have got it right. And I mean, no, that's not true. That's not even funny, guys. And that thing took off, and it started bouncing off between the wall and the fence, and it burned for 20 minutes. We were scared to death.
Hey, Rusty, my buddy Rick Bradshaw here. He always likes to ask the last question of the night, and it has absolutely nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with toys or anything like that. We call it the mayonnaise jar. He goes into the mayonnaise jar to pull out a question. So, Rick, it's all yours. I like the question from last night. Actually, that was
we don't want to duplicate.
Yeah, but he didn't see the show last night.
Okay. In your opinion, what is the best sandwich?
I told you it was going to have nothing to do with toys.
The very best sandwich would be the McDonald's breakfast sandwich, sausage, egg, and cheese with folded egg.
Wow.
Very nice. Very nice. No one's ever answered like that.
That's a new one. Wow.
Yeah.
That is a new one.
Yeah. That kind of sandwich doesn't usually come to mind. Yeah, very good. Very good.
Yeah.
We like it.
We eat, in the film business, we called it the producers group diet plan. Nobody got to eat lunch. They were all complaining. We'd all complain. So somebody'd run to McDonald's and get something. And I eat so much of that stuff as a producer that, it sticks with me. I still like it. Thanks for asking.
Rest of you guys, any questions before we say goodnight?
No, it's just wonderful to see it.
Yeah, that was great listening to the stories and stuff. That
Huge
was
thanks for all the magazines, all the history, and for keeping it alive and giving newbies like me a chance to enter the hobby. And it's amazing.
You're more than welcome. Boy,
Rusty, now that you've been a special guest on, just like Joe and everybody else here, you're more than welcome to come back as a panel member. You don't have to be invited. Just let me any Tuesday night you want to come back on and be a panel member. You're more than welcome. So,
boy, that's an honor. Thank you. We'll take you up on that.
And it's been an honor having you on, man. I never thought my show would get to this level. Actually, man, you and Joe.
My privilege. My privilege. Thank you so much.
Craig Remington,
guys, take care of you.
Yep.
Especially safe. The hobby needs you. We all need you.
Hopefully see you in September.
Absolutely. Yes. September 28th.
Don't
And
forget,
Thursday-
next week, same
Tuesday's
time,
really-
same place. Everybody have a great week.
Good.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.